Everyone, I'm Kristen Cho.
And I'm Cameron Word.
So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and were able to kind of recharge.
Yes.
Do you cook much on the weekend?
I do sometimes. So I recently cooked... I told you I cooked pancakes on the weekend.
Right.
So Koreans call it hai rice. So like hashed beef.
Yes.
Kind of like more like Japanese style. In Japanese, I'd say hayashi rice.
Okay.
I've been making that recently.
Okay. Well, good for you.
It's like a curry, right? So you just buy the curry roux and put your meat and your vegetables in.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
Nothing fancy like you. You do a lot of fancy stuff.
No, not at all. I just do your basic Korean stuff.
Basic Korean is very fancy. It takes a lot of time.
Let me be honest with you. Basic Korean is hard.
It's so much time. It takes so long.
So I'm like, listen, banchan, forget about the banchan. I just give you one main thing, like a jjigae, that's it. I don't do banchan because if you do banchan, you're in there for another hour.
Oh my gosh, it's so true.
Okay.
But I will say, from time to time, especially in the winter, I do make a beef stew.
And that is what we're going to talk about today. Winter comfort foods. There's nothing better than beef stew. Beef stew in the winter. Now, I have a question.
Yes.
We have galbijjim.
Yeah.
Okay? Beef stew.
Yes.
Is it similar?
Not at all.
Okay. So, what is galbijjim?
You know Korean food more than me.
It's like braised beef.
Braised beef,
yeah.
So, with most beef stew, it's usually a tomato-based soup.
Yeah.
So
it's
you're
more
making
of a thick soup.
It's a thick soup with beef chunks.
Yeah.
And I like to throw in a whole bottle of red wine.
Oh, red wine. You need to have red wine.
And it's chunky, so you'll probably have carrots in it.
Sure.
You'll probably
Potatoes.
maybe potatoes. I like to put okra in it.
Oh, yum.
Like okra, it's kind of a very specific one. And then you might spice it in a certain way.
Right. It's very tasty. I've made it a few times.
Great with mashed potatoes.
Oh, gosh. All right. It's early in the morning and people are already pining for beef stew.
Yes.
Okay. Here are some expressions that we're going to cover. If something sets in, S-E-T and then I-N, set in.
So to set in means to really begin. Like, not just, it just started. It's like, in the case of winter, for example, when it sets in, it's like, winter is really here now.
Like in the middle of winter.
Right.
How about if you live for something?
This is the thing I love the most. I get so much enjoyment from this thing.
All right. And how about take a hint?
So to take a hint means you kind of understand what someone's trying to say without them actually saying it.
Yeah.
So it's the 눈치.
It's kind of 눈치.
It's the 눈치를 보는 거죠.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I can take a hint, meaning I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
나 눈치 있어.
I'm getting the 눈치.
I'm getting the
You're
눈치.
sending the 눈치 and I'm receiving the 눈치. Yeah, I'm taking the hint.
All right, let's go ahead and listen to our dialogue.
Hey, I'm glad you decided to come despite the snow.
When winter sets in, there's nothing better than beef stew and a glass of red wine.
When I was a kid, my mom would give my brother and me big bowls of it, and we'd eat by the fireplace.
It sounds like you live for this kind of snowy evening.
The only thing we're missing is a fire.
I can take a hint. I'll have a roaring fire in your fireplace in minutes.
Okay, please join us on page 80. You can find the power dialogue there. Winter comfort foods, there's nothing better than beef stew. So beef stew is best in the winter. Gwen says, hey, I'm glad you decided to come despite the snow. What does Lyle say?
When winter sets in, there's nothing better than beef stew and a glass of red wine.
Okay. So when winter sets in, and as you said, it is kind of the heart of winter.
Yes.
The middle of winter.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the exact middle, but it's the middle in the sense of like, this is really winter.
It's winter now.
It's not like light winter. You know, in that beginning of like November into December, it's still kind of warm.
Yeah.
It's not super cold. that is not winter setting in. Whenever it's like below 0 degrees,
zero,
you're like, okay, winter is here.
Winter
has set in.
Okay. Can we only say this with seasons? Like, where else can we, use this expression to set in?
So an effect can set in. So let's say like you take a medicine and let's say a pain reliever, you have a headache and you start to feel the results just a little bit. The headache isn't as much, and then your headache completely goes away.
Yeah.
That's when the medicine really sets in.
Yeah. When I have a migraine and it's like I try to take it before it gets really bad because it takes a while for the pain reliever to set in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll start a little bit. You'll feel a little bit of the effect, but for the full effect to set in, it will take some time.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So, Lyle is saying, wow, when it's really winter, beef stew and a glass of red wine is best. And Gwen says, when I was a kid, my mom would give my brother and me big bowls of it, and we eat by the fireplace. In Seoul or in, Gyeonggi, Seoul area, it's a lot of people live in apartments.
Yeah.
We don't have the fireplace.
You have the ondol. Just
we have the ondol. That's even better.
Lying flat on the floor. That's how you stay warm, right?
That is so true. And what does Lyle say?
It sounds like you live for this kind of snowy evening.
Okay. If you live for something like a snowy evening, what does this mean?
This means that it is the thing you enjoy the most. This is the thing in your life that you get the most enjoyment from.
So it is an exaggeration. It is a dramatic way of saying, I really, really love this.
Yeah. Oh, I live for this.
Oh, if you love cheesecake, I live for cheesecake.
Yeah. So this is often for, honestly, for like food or a physical experience usually that you just find so amazing. Yeah.
So if you really loved roller coasters, you could say, oh, I live for roller coasters.
Yeah.
That's how much you love it. Okay. And Gwen says, the only thing we're missing is a fire.
Lyle says, I can take a hint. I'll have a roaring fire in your fireplace in minutes.
Okay. This is interesting. Gwen says, oh, but we don't have a fire. So it's like she's giving nunchi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then Lyle takes it. I can take a hint.
Yes.
Okay.
I can take a hint. It's basically like, oh, you gave a clue. Here the hint is like a clue. She didn't say, I want a fire.
Could you start the fire?
Yeah, she didn't say, please start the fire. Like, oh, a fire would be nice. Man, I wish we had a fire. Oh, a fire sounds wonderful. Like that. You know how like sometimes you give clues?
Yes.
It also happens whenever like you want a gift and you're like, man, I could really use a new watch. It'd be nice if I had a new watch.
Oh, those flowers are so beautiful. I would love to have a vase full of flowers.
This perfume smells so wonderful. That would be nice to have this perfume.
Right. So those are lots of hints that you're giving.
Yeah, you'd say you're dropping a hint.
You drop a hint, yes.
Yeah, and so then Lyle is taking the hint, taking a hint. Yeah.
Okay. Usually we say, I can take a hint, meaning I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You can also say, why can't you take a hint? Meaning, why do you not have nunchi?
Yeah.
I'm giving you these hints. Why can't you take it?
Right. Why can't you understand what I'm really trying to say?
That's right. I'll have a roaring fire in your fireplace in minutes. Okay, so he's like, okay, I'm going to make a fire, not just ordinary fire, but a roaring fire.
Yes, a roaring fire. So roar is usually for like animals, like
Lions.
a lion that's going roar, right? But here with a roaring fire, it means a big fire with lots of energy, lots of heat. So obviously not one to take over the house, but big considering
fire.
What the fireplace is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you do something in minutes,
yes.
This is our power pattern, how long is it going to take you?
Very quickly. So this fire, he'll probably have it done in 2 or 3 minutes. You're not going to have to wait like an hour to have this fire started.
Right. I feel like within 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and listen to that dialogue one more time.
Hey, I'm glad you decided to come despite the snow.
When winter sets in, there's nothing better than beef stew and a glass of red wine.
When I was a kid, my mom would give my brother and me big bowls of it, and we'd eat by the fireplace.
It sounds like you live for this kind of snowy evening.
The only thing we're missing is a fire.
I can take a hint. I'll have a roaring fire in your fireplace in minutes.
It's time for Power Note. We're on pages 82 and 83. We're going to give you some example sentences for the expressions that we just covered.
Yes.
The first one is to set in, which means to begin or to become established, to take effect.
Yeah.
In some
and
cases.
really take effect. Not just lightly begin, but okay, now we're really going now.
Okay, here we go. We need to hurry and set up this tent.
Yeah, it'll be harder once night sets in.
Yeah, when it becomes really dark.
Yeah, it goes from daylight and then it kind of slowly gets darker.
Right.
Not that time. We're talking about when it's really dark.
Okay.
It's really hard to put a tin up.
Right.
In the dark.
Okay, that's true.
It's so hard.
Once his fever set in, all we could do was wait.
So here the fever was rising and rising. Okay, now it's really high and it's there.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
Right.
He's gonna have his fever for a while.
For a while. That's kind of scary.
It is, especially if you're a parent and it's like a child.
Well, when my son was 1.5, a little over 1.5, he had a fever, and it wasn't going away for like a few days.
Oh, my gosh.
And so then I rushed him to the hospital. And at first, it was just like, and then they discovered with more exams that he had an infection right on his neck.
Oh, my goodness.
So he was hospitalized for a couple of days. They had to give him strong antibiotics.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they didn't have surgery. But when that fever set in and it stayed, that was scary. Because usually it breaks.
Yeah.
We say a fever breaks, meaning it starts to go down.
Yeah, it starts to go back down. Yeah, but babies, sometimes they get, and their fevers get really high.
Really high.
I know a friend, she had a child and her baby, and we lived in the country, right? So you can't just go to the hospital all of a sudden.
Right.
She had to put her baby in like ice water.
Sure.
To keep it cool. Like, not for a long time, but just to like make sure his body, until they could get to like,
that's scary.
Goodness.
Yeah, fever.
Yeah, when an illness sets in. So like a flu, you start to feel a little bad, and then I feel awful.
Right, it's setting in.
Yeah, that illness is setting in.
Oh, good expression. Okay, if you live for something, it means that you like something so much that you're just saying it in an exaggerated way that you really, really love that.
Yeah, you're basically saying, this is my reason for living.
Yes, this is my joy.
Yeah, in a dramatic way.
Okay, where is Mark?
He left work right at 5. He lives for the weekend. So this means it's a Friday, so he probably got off work and is now going to have fun on the weekend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think everybody lives for the weekend.
Yeah, everybody's working for the weekend.
Right.
So it's very similar to that. Like, I don't know. You say that. I know some people that do, like if you're like a business owner, like if you're doing your dream job.
Right.
Some people really do like
the weekend.
The week, like the work week.
The work week.
But I think most people, they're really focused on the weekend.
Of course.
Like they make their money during the week for the weekend.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a few that really enjoy. You're very lucky if you get to enjoy your work every day.
Yeah, it's very true.
But for the most part, I think people really do live for the weekend. So they try to maximize the weekend by doing lots of different things or just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I live for trips to the bookstore every weekend.
Yes. So
you love books.
That's the main thing that they like to do. So don't be confused with this expression, saying something like, I live for my children. Technically, grammatically, and even the meaning, it feels like you should be able to say that. I live for my children, being like, I sacrifice for my children. I do everything for my children, right? But we usually don't use this expression for that.
Yeah.
We usually use the expression for like, this is the thing I enjoy the most. You might be able to say like, I live for when I can make my children laugh.
Okay.
In the sense of like maybe you're a mom or dad and you're always telling jokes, you're always playing because you just want to make your children laugh.
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah.
But it is more of just like this is the thing I find most enjoyable.
Okay, right. Exactly. So, let's see. What is there anything that we live for? Is there anything that you live for, Cameron? Deep sleep.
Deep sleep. Good. I think recently, not really, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there is this feeling like, I just love doing this all the time, whenever I can. And I don't think I have that right now.
Yeah. I agree.
And not in a bad way.
Right.
But
Right,
I think,
right.
just...
Right. You can't just say this lightly. You have to really believe in it and really love it. So I agree. I don't have anything. Well, I know there is something that I do live for. I do live for little weekend getaways.
The little trips that you take.
Yes,
Going to like a cafe in a different place or having a nice meal.
Weekend getaway. All right, very good. Okay, take a hint means to understand an indirect suggestion or comment.
Yeah, you're picking up on something that someone doesn't say directly, but it's what they mean.
Okay. Roscoe asked me out on a date 3 times this week.
You keep telling him you're too busy, so why won't he take a hint?
Okay, this is often used in this context. He can't take the hint, meaning you said, no, I'm busy. What you're saying is, no, I don't want to go out on a date with you.
Yeah.
But some guys can't take the hint.
So true.
They have no nunchi.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because he thinks, maybe she's really busy.
Yeah, if I ask one more time, maybe it'll work this time.
All right. He finally took a hint and left after I said I was tired and wanted to sleep.
This is the worst. Whenever you have... When you have guests at your house.
Yeah.
You've had like a house party. You've eaten.
Right.
You've talked for a while.
Right. And you go like, I need to like wrap
Man,
up.
it's getting so late.
Yeah.
And then they say something like, oh, it's okay. We don't work tomorrow.
Right.
No, please leave.
Please go.
It's past my bedtime. Or I'll say, I have a dog. I'll be like, oh, gosh, it's late. I need to walk my dog. They say something like, oh, walk your dog. We'll wait here. We'll be here when you come. No! Take a hint! Leave my house! Anyway, that's the expression. Take a hint.
Thank you. That was really real. In minutes means like really quickly, within 5 or 10 minutes. The popcorn will be ready in minutes.
Lisa will be here in minutes.
Okay.
Not far
very
away.
Good. All right, our power vocab is roaring on page 84. Do check out the definition there. And thank you so much for studying with us today.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow.